Howdy, y'all. Kevin here. Today's Cigar and Whiskey Talk is going to be to answer a question that was asked in comments. I was asked in comments what my take is on the Signal Gate thing. Now, in case you don't know, supposedly the battle plans, the war plans, the attack plans were leaked to a guy at the Atlantic who is the editor-in-chief or something along those lines. And it wasn't really a leak, supposedly. But the guy was added to the string, supposedly accidentally, either by one of the chief security advisors or somebody on his staff. And he ended up getting a whole bunch of information that he should have never had. I agree with that. He should have never had this information. Anyway, let's do this first. This is a Trader Jack Aromatic. This is a low-cost cigar. They're about $2 a piece or less, depending on where you buy them from. And a bunch of people bug me about flavored whiskeys. They always say, hey, you ought to try this, you ought to try this, or you ought to try this. I'm not a big fan of flavored whiskeys, except for a very few, like Applejack and things like that. But I've decided to go down that road a little bit. I have in the past. I've drank a lot of flavored whiskeys. But I saw this at a liquor store the other day. This is called Mash and Mellow S'mores Whiskey. So it's whiskey that's supposed to taste like s'mores. So we're going to give that a try today. And I picked it up more for the bottle than anything else. I like the bottle. Anyhow, back to this thing. If I can get down amongst all the other bottles. Kind of sweet. Anyway, back to Signal Gate. Like I was saying, this editor-in-chief at the Atlantic supposedly got added to this string. It's a chat string on a platform called Signal that up until recently I didn't know anything about. So after I was asked in the comments what my take on it is, I had to go do a little research, and here's what I found out. Signal is a secure platform for group chats. They've got encryption and all that stuff on there. 128-bit encryption. So it's good encryption. It's not the best encryption, but it's good encryption. And this guy from the Atlantic got added onto the string or into the group chat, supposedly by accident, either by a chief security or either by one of the chief security advisors or somebody on his staff. I read both, so I'm not gonna nail it down to either one. But anyhow, this guy got added on there. And the things that he said, he was so concerned about it that he said there were the times of the strikes were on there, what the strike was going to be, who the strike was going to be against, where the strike, all everything, complete information was supposedly in this chat. But he went on and did an interview with somebody and saying he's not going to disclose all this stuff, but he'll describe what he saw, what he saw in the string, and so that's what he said during this interview. The location of the strike, what was going to be used in the strike, who the strike was against, all that kind of stuff was in there. And then he published a follow-up article that actually had the string in it. So I guess he rethought his morals. Because he originally said he didn't want to say anything because it was going to put military lives at risk. But he went ahead and published it anyway. So he wasn't that concerned. But anyhow, I looked at the excerpts and the screenshots of this thing. And what was in there, and granted, he should have never seen any of this. All right, I will be 100% transparent with that. He should have never seen any of this. The media and no one in the media should have been involved in any of this. I can't tell you anything about the platform. What I read is it's got good encryption. A lot of government agencies use it, and a lot of corporations use it. So I don't say that. They're griping about it's an unsecured government, a non-government platform, but these are the same guys who didn't care about Barack Obama running around with a BlackBerry that was not a government BlackBerry, and didn't gripe a lot about Hillary deleting, having a whole bunch of stuff on unsecured civilian servers, and then deleting it all after she was told they wanted to see it. So, but anyhow, back to that. I read the screenshots, and it did have times in there. It did have what asset was going to be used. You know, it's going to be an airstrike with an F-18 at such and such a time. What it didn't have in any of that stuff was a location of where the strike was going to be. It didn't say where the asset was coming from. It didn't say who was at the asset, other than I saw the word terrorists in there. And we're assuming Houthis, because this was supposedly a bunch of airstrike against the Houthis, who have been basically messing with the shipping for the last year or so. So, my take on it is it should have never got out. Was it a bad thing that got out? Yes, and now we know why it was a bad thing. Because their morals, they say they didn't want to talk about it because, you know, it's going to endanger U.S. military lives. But then they go ahead and put it out anyway. So what we're saying, the way I'm reading it, is this guy can't be trusted with information that he really thinks would be morally wrong to have it out there, because he's going to put it out there anyway. And I'll be honest with you, probably 90% of the journalists in the United States or overseas would have published it in a heartbeat. I'll be honest with you. Because it makes the Trump administration look bad. They wouldn't have cared if it was Obama or Hillary or Bill or any of those guys. They wouldn't care about it. They cared about it at all. Like I said, my take is it should have never got to someone in the press. And reading about all the entities that use this signal, and like I said, I don't know anything about this thing other than what I just read over the last couple of days. But it's supposedly a fairly securely encrypted chat program that a lot of government agencies and a lot of corporations use for chats. So that's all I know. Once again, shouldn't have got to a journalist. I'm not sure if I have a problem or not with it being on Signal, because I don't know enough about it. My biggest problem is whoever added him to that chat. Number one, why'd they have his contact information? And number two, why'd they add him? I read one account that said that it was one of those autofill things where they thought they were adding somebody else and they added him instead. But why'd they have him in a contact list? That's what I want to know. Anyhow, with all that being said, it was a bad thing, but all the strikes happened, so I don't know. Okay, this s'mores whiskey doesn't have very much bite to it, and it's sweet enough that it'll kind of pucker you. I wouldn't go out and buy another bottle. I'll drink this because I'm not going to waste the bottle. But they'll be few and far between. And like I said, I probably won't buy another bottle of it. Trader Jack Aromatic, you've seen me do them many times before. Anyhow, talk to y'all later. See y'all in the woods.